Hello YouTube, welcome back to Bison Workshop. I'm Bob, and today I just kind of wanted to go over something that came about all of a sudden last night. Rex came and pick up his little pickup back there, and we got it back down here, and he hooked to it with the tow bar, and this truck was running perfect. And he shut it off so that we wouldn't have to deal with the fumes while we was hooking it up, and never did start again. But we got online and did a bunch of YouTubing, of course, and found that the IPR, which is the injector pressure regulator, was bad in most cases. Well, so he went and got a pressure regulator, and I've got it apart here replacing it. And before I got too awful far, I thought maybe I'd go ahead and just touch bases on this a little bit to kind of give an idea as to what I'm doing. So what I've done, I took this off. This here mounts to the side of the fuel filter housing, and then goes to that hose right there and these two hoses right here. And I believe there's a filter on the bottom side of that, we'll see. But right here is the part that we think is bad. Now, this is no guarantee that this is the problem. This is just a pretty educated guess. But in every case where it said we punched in 95 Ford F350 diesel won't start, it pointed to that right there. And so I hope that's it. We're kind of living on a prayer right now, because that thing is $150, so, or actually $180, and that was at O'Reilly's. So I'm going to kind of try to find a place to set this camera up so that you guys can watch what I'm doing, and who knows, we might chat while we're at it. So I've got all these harnesses backed up here and pinned up so that they're kind of out of the way. And this is the wire that goes to the IPR. And down in here, in fact, you know what, let me show you guys that before we start. Right here is the pressure regulator right here. This thing here slides right on that, and basically it's just a magnet that energizes and moves the solenoid in here. So that's what we're after right there, is getting that out. And I believe that's 1 1/8 inch, which is what everybody online said. So we'll see. So I'm going to try to get that out. Why do I have the feeling somebody's getting ready to interrupt me? Maybe not. And this is just an 1 1/8 inch wrench. Once you get the sensor off, then we can go ahead and screw this out. I tell you, he couldn't have parked in a worse spot. sun right down on me. Oh my God, them dogs, man. That's all they ever do. 24/7, man. Alright, so there's that. Alright, so now we've got the new one here, and we're going to have to take it apart to get it in. So this is a 3/4. And it's not on very tight. So we take that 3/4 inch nut off, and it's just a little old metal nut. And then this slides off. And then this slides off. Alright, and then it's already pre-oiled, so now we go ahead and put this in, and we want to make sure that we're hitting the hole, because we don't want to put no gunk of grease on the end of this thing. Alright, now we're at the point where we need a wrench. Let's just hope that this fixes the problem, because this may not fix the problem. But this thing's been shutting off on him for a while now. And no one could ever figure out why it keeps shutting off. Because it done it on me once. Alright, so now we've got that on. Now he's replaced this filter here. He went and got that last night, thinking that's what might be the problem. Alright, so now the next thing is to slide this back on. You gotta move this big old blue hose out of the way. Slide that on. Then we put this back on it. And then we put the nut back on it. And remember, 3/4. Now that wasn't on very tight. It doesn't have to be on very tight. Alright. So now we can go ahead and start putting this thing back together.
The Pope takes a poop and the President too, and the fancy Grand Banker in his three-piece suit. The big fat general and all of his troops. The truth of the matter is everybody poops. The famous brain surgeon has to leave his lump, and the high-priced model has to stop for a dump. But can the sides of Canada can't spray away the truth? Cause even if they don't admit it, everybody poops. Everybody poops. everybody poops. Some days it's easy, other days it's hard. But if your system's working, thank your lucky stars. Nobody talks about it, not a word is said. But if you're not pooping, then it means you're probably dead. The destitute and homeless have to do it, it's true. But even all the wealthy people gotta make do. And if you live long enough, it's happening.
We're going to try to start it and see if it starts. So, wish me luck, guys, and that sun. Sorry about that. Wish me luck. Let's hope this thing will start. So, we're going to move all this stuff off the thing here. And put you guys in a good location to try this out. I don't want my camera to fall in there. Alright, so let's give this thing a shot. We're going to spray this a little bit with some ether. I told him there was a chance that this could happen. We're going to try ether one more time. It tried to start. I don't like using ether on anything, period. Alright, well, it's plain to see that it's just not getting fuel. So, apparently this was not the problem. So, now it's a matter of, first of all, giving the bad news, because he just spent $180 on that part. Actually, it is starting more than it did before. So, I mean, it's a good possibility that that was part of the problem, but I don't believe that that's all the problem. So, this is why I don't deal with diesels. That's why I won't own a diesel. I have no desire to have a diesel. And I've been trying to talk him out of getting rid of this diesel. They're nothing but headaches. You know, if something goes wrong with them, yeah, they're tough. They're badass when they're running right. But when they're not running right, they're a problem. They're a big problem. So, I don't know what I'm doing on a diesel. So, and I'll be the first to admit that. I have no clue what I'm doing when it comes to a diesel. And I really don't want to know nothing about a diesel, because they're nothing but a headache. So, I guess I'm going to have to get on the phone here and call him and let him know that he just spent $180 to find out that that wasn't the problem. And I told him last night that this is probably, since I don't know what I'm doing and I don't have test equipment, if he wants me to work on it, this is what's going to happen. you know, at least he didn't get stuck. He is looking at it that way. He's looking at it as a blessing because it could have happened out on the highway. And yeah, he's right. And he's looking at it a little better than I would have, because I would be pissed. I would be so freaking mad right now, it wouldn't be funny if this was my vehicle. I'm actually none too happy about it because I'm in the sun working on it, and it couldn't have picked a worse place to work on a vehicle here in the bluff. You know, I got shade right behind me and I got shade behind the vehicle. I'm in the middle where there ain't no shade, and the shade never hits. So, let me call him and give him the bad news until we find out the next step. This video is paused. Alright guys, we have called him and let him know that that was not the problem, and we went and did a few more videos, and there's only one other thing left, and it just pisses me off that I have to go through these issues with this, because on my 460 I would have already had it diagnosed. I would have already diagnosed the right problem, because there's not so many things to worry about. You got 3 things to worry about: air, fuel, and fire. You got them 3 things, it'll work. This one's got high pressure this, low pressure that, solenoids, sensors, bullshit. Have I told you all lately I despise a diesel? I despise them. And I despise them because I don't know how to work on them. So, anyway, we have come to the conclusion that it's the fuel pump. It's the only other thing left in line, because I'll show you what we done. Alright, first thing we did to test this was we unplugged this. Alright, and when you unplug this, it makes it default. And if it cranks, then that means that that's the problem, or starts. So we went and replaced the IPR, the injection pressure regulator. Alright, put it all back together, tried to crank it, didn't work. Alright, well, in the meantime, I'll take this off, I go in, I crank it, or I take this cap off, I go in and crank it to build up a pressure. There's supposed to be anywhere from 55 to 60 pounds of pressure, fuel pressure. Well, after you crank it, this thing ought to be pressurized. So there should be a quick burst of fuel push out of that. It did nothing. It was a lazy, half a drip, just barely trickled out of it. So I'm guessing that right there is the problem. This fuel pump right here. So he has decided to go ahead and let's replace that fuel pump. I am not looking forward to replacing that either, because that looks like it's even in a worse location than this up here in the front. So that's the last thing to do, and if that's not the problem, I'm afraid I'm telling him to take it somewhere else. Because I'm done with it. So I'm waiting for him to get the fuel pump, and I guess we'll go ahead and replace that, do some more cussing, because I'm out here in the freaking sun. It's starting to dissipate a little bit, but that's where we're at, replacing the fuel pump. Because what happens is, you got, let's see if I can get up here. what you have is low pressure right here. This is low pressure. It comes in, goes out, I think, or no, wait a minute, this one comes in, this one goes out into the fuel filter box or cage, and then goes down to the bottom of the fuel pump, and then high pressure right here. So it turns it into high pressure. So this is a two-stage fuel pump. Low pressure, high pressure. So that's our next step, replacing the fuel pump. I'm so glad I told him right from the beginning, I don't know what the hell I'm doing with these things. Don't want to know. I'm not the least bit interested in working on this piece of junk. And that's what a diesel is to me, junk. Diesels are not, I don't believe they should be in vehicles. I think they should be in big trucks, and that's it. And they have high-paid frickin' diesel mechanics to work on them for that very reason, because they are a pain in the ass. So, anyway, until we get a fuel pump, that's where we're at. Well, guys, it was a no-go. We put the new fuel pump on it, and like I said before, I'm so glad that I let him know right from the beginning. I don't know what I'm doing with these diesels. He chose to just replace the parts with a best educated guess, and yeah, I'm probably going to get a lot of flack over this video, and you know, at this point I really don't give a shit. You know, I don't know anything about diesels, don't want to know nothing about diesels. I like my gasoline engines, and I know about them. I know how to make them work. I don't know anything about a diesel. So we replaced the IPR, the injector pressure regulator. We replaced the fuel pump, and it's a two-stage, low pressure in, high pressure out, and it'll start with ether, and as soon as the ether's gone, it won't run no more. So I'm still leaning towards a fuel problem. So if anybody knows what it could be, by all means, let us know. But at this point, he's just going to have to get a professional to work on it, because I don't know what I'm doing. And I'll be the first to tell you, I have no clue what I'm doing with a diesel, and don't want to know. I have no desire to work on a diesel. I have no desire to own a diesel. So I guess that'll end this fail. So before we do, I wanted to show some score. He brought some stuff today and gave it to me. I don't know what I'll ever use it for, but it's one of them door openers for like an industrial door. I don't know what I can use it for, but I'm sure I can use it for something. It's supposed to be spring loaded. Somehow. Yeah. So he gave me that. I don't know what I'd ever use it for. Sure, I'll find some application for it. Then he gave me one of these. It's one of those that has the blade that vibrates back and forth. And he thinks it's a cord, but we'll find out. If nothing else, we can use parts out of it. I'll take that apart and clean it. We might even do a video on that. And then he gave me some stuff here. I'm not going to pull the whole thing out, but I would say that there's probably 30 of these pieces of steel plate, 1/4 inch thick. Looks to me like an 1.5 inch, nope, 1.25 inches wide, 8.5 inches long, 1/4 inch thick, steel plates, and there's like 35 of them in there, just like that. So those would be nice to make something with. In fact, I already know what I can use one of these for my tailgate on my trailer. So remember the two pieces on the top that's got the holes in it? I need to make a new one to mount to the top of that. So that might be the kit ticket right there. So got a whole bunch of those, and that was it. He had a few more things, but he was kind of in a hurry to go. He had to go. So still ain't smoking. That's a shame too, man. I sure miss it, especially today. I was having a rough day with that vehicle. Like I said, I'll never own a diesel. You couldn't pay me to own a diesel. And this truck is giving me that many more reasons why not to own a diesel. So, anyway, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'm sure I'm going to get comments. Just be careful not to get blocked, whoever's watching. So, you guys have a good one. Later.